The Kazon assault tore through the alien defenses, a relentless onslaught that left only rubble and ruin in its wake. Kraxen's fleet descended upon the capital world, a swarm of warships that blocked out the sun. The once grand royal palace crumbled under the bombardment, its walls collapsing, its towers toppling. In the grand chamber, the kingdom's leaders huddled together, their faces etched with terror as they watched their world burn. In a final desperate act, they activated the ancient distress beacon, a relic from a bygone era. It was a gamble, a plea for help that could just as easily draw more enemies to their doorstep. But with Kraxen's forces breaching the chamber, they had no choice. The beacon pulsed, sending out a signal that rippled across the stars. On the fringes of the galaxy, the signal reached a long-forgotten human outpost. Admiral Roger Coleman, a grizzled veteran of countless battles, received the message aboard his flagship, the Intrepid. He recognized the alien language, the urgency in their plea. Humanity was scattered, diminished, in no condition to fight another war. But Coleman knew that if the Kazon conquered the alien royal kingdom, they would be one step closer to finding Earth and wiping out the last remnants of humanity. He made a decision, one that would change the course of history. Against the protests of his advisors, Coleman activated the secret protocol known only to a select few, the awakening of the dormant fleet. Hidden in the depths of space, a vast armada of advanced human warships stirred to life, their ancient systems powering up after centuries of slumber. As the ships emerged from stasis, Coleman knew he had committed humanity to a fight for survival. The once mighty human race, now a shadow of its former glory, set course for the besieged alien royal kingdom. Their ancient warships, crewed by a mere fraction of the soldiers they once held, charged into enemy territory. Coleman could only hope that the legend of humanity's prowess would strike fear into the hearts of the Kazon, and that the dormant fleet would live up to its formidable reputation. The fate of the galaxy hung in the balance, as two civilizations prepared to clash in a battle that would determine the future of all sentient life. As the human delegation stepped into the grand chamber, the alien leaders regarded them with a mixture of hope and wariness. Queen Zara, resplendent in her royal regalia, stood tall before the intricately carved throne. Captain Marcus Reeves bowed deeply, his crisp uniform a stark contrast to the ornate surroundings. "Your Majesty," Reeves said, his voice carrying through the hushed chamber, "I am Captain Marcus Reeves of the human fleet. We come in peace, seeking to forge an alliance against the Kazon threat that besieges your kingdom." Queen Zara's eyes, a vibrant shade of violet, met Reeves's gaze. "Captain Reeves, your arrival is most timely. Our defenses are crumbling, and my people face the prospect of annihilation. But I must ask, what does humanity seek in return for its aid?" Reeves paused, weighing his words carefully. "Your Majesty, we seek only to ensure the survival of your civilization and to prevent the Kazon from gaining a foothold in this region of space. However, we are aware of your kingdom's history of conquest and subjugation." A murmur rippled through the gathered alien dignitaries. Queen Zara raised a slender hand, silencing the whispers. "Captain, our past is not one we are proud of, but we have learned from our mistakes and seek to forge a new path, one of cooperation and mutual respect." As Reeves opened his mouth to respond, a deafening explosion rocked the chamber. Chunks of stone rained down from the vaulted ceiling as the walls shuddered. Alarms blared, and the acrid scent of smoke filled the air. "The Kazon!" Queen Zara shouted, her voice rising above the chaos. "They've launched another attack!" Reeves tapped his communication device. "Admiral, the Kazon are attacking the palace, requesting immediate support." "Acknowledged, Captain." Coleman's gruff voice crackled through the device. "We're deploying ground forces to your location. Engage the enemy and protect the Queen at all costs." Reeves drew his sidearm, a sleek energy pistol that hummed with power. He turned to the Queen, his expression grim. "Your Majesty, we must get you to safety." Queen Zara shook her head, her eyes blazing with commitment. "No, Captain. I will not abandon my people. I will fight alongside you." As if on cue, a contingent of human soldiers burst into the chamber, their advanced armor glinting under the flickering lights. They took up defensive positions, their weapons trained on the entrance. The doors exploded inward, revealing a horde of Kazon warriors, their faces twisted with rage. The human soldiers opened fire, their weapons spitting bolts of searing energy. The Kazon fell in droves, their primitive armor no match for the human weaponry. Reeves fought alongside Queen Zara and her royal guards, their movements a blur of precision and deadly grace. The battle raged, the once grand chamber transformed into a hellscape of smoke, blood, and shattered stone. As the last Kazan fell, Reeves turned to Queen Zara, his breath coming in ragged gasps. "Your Majesty, we must discuss the terms of our alliance. The Kazan will not relent, and we must present a united front." Queen Zara nodded, her face streaked with grime and sweat. "Agreed, Captain. Let us forge a pact that will ensure the survival of both our peoples. We fight together, or we perish alone." And so in the ruins of the Grand Chamber, amid the flames and the fallen, an unlikely alliance was born. An alliance that would shake the very foundations of the galaxy and shape the course of history for generations to come. The alliance forged in battle faced its first true test in the days that followed. As the dust settled and the immediate Kazan threat receded, tensions simmered beneath the surface of the newfound cooperation between humans and the alien royal kingdom. Admiral Coleman paced the bridge of the Intrepid, his weathered face etched with concern. "Captain Reeves, report to the war room immediately," he barked into his communicator. Minutes later, Reeves strode in, his uniform still bearing the scars of recent combat. "Admiral, what's the situation?" Coleman's eyes narrowed. "We've intercepted a transmission. The Kazan are mobilizing for a major offensive. But that's not all." He activated a holographic display, revealing a pulsing energy signature deep within Kazan territory. "Our long-range scans picked up this anomaly. It matches the energy profile of ancient human technology." Reeves leaned in, studying the readout. "A research facility? After all this time?" "Possibly, and it might hold the key to unlocking the full potential of the dormant fleet." Coleman's voice lowered. "I'm assembling a strike team. You'll lead it, Captain. Your mission is to infiltrate that facility and recover any data you can find." As Reeves absorbed the gravity of the task, the war room doors hissed open. A tall, lean figure entered, his skin an ashen gray, his eyes gleaming with an unsettling intelligence. "Admiral, Captain," he said, his voice a low rasp. "I couldn't help but overhear. I believe I can be of assistance." Coleman's expression hardened. "And you are?" "Zekral," the newcomer replied, "a defector from the Kazan ranks. I have intimate knowledge of their territory and defenses." Reeves eyed Zekral warily. "How convenient that you should appear just as we plan this mission." Zekral spread his hands in a placating gesture. "I assure you my intentions are pure. I seek only to aid in the downfall of my former masters." Before Reeves could voice his suspicions, Queen Zara's holographic form materialized in the center of the room. "Admiral Coleman, I must insist that my most trusted advisor, Kaz, accompany your strike team. This mission is too crucial to entrust solely to human hands." Coleman's fist tight, but he nodded. "Agreed, Your Majesty. We're in this together now." As preparations for the mission began, Zekral insinuated himself into the heart of the Alliance's operations. He whispered doubts into eager ears, exploiting the lingering mistrust between humans and aliens. Small misunderstandings ballooned into heated arguments. Tactical decisions became mired in debate. The strike team's shuttle cut through the inky void of space, tension thick in the air. Reeves sat at the controls, his nucleus tightening as he guided the craft through a treacherous asteroid field. Beside him, Kaz's tentacles twitched nervously. "You seem unsettled," Reeves observed. Kaz's multifaceted eyes swiveled towards him. "I cannot shake the feeling that we are being led into a trap." Before Reeves could respond, the shuttle's sensors blared a warning. A Kazan patrol ship loomed ahead, its weapons charging. "Evasive maneuvers," Reeves shouted, throwing the shuttle into a wild spin. Energy bolts sizzled past the viewport as Reeves weaved through the asteroid field, using the massive rocks as cover. The Kazan ship pursued relentlessly, its superior firepower threatening to overwhelm them at any moment. "We need a diversion," Kaz hissed, his tentacles working furiously over the tactical console. Reeves nodded grimly. "On my mark, deploy countermeasures and prepare to engage stealth systems." The shuttle screamed towards a particularly dense cluster of asteroids. At the last possible second, Reeves barked, "Now!" A storm of sensor-jamming chaff erupted from the shuttle's rear as its stealth field shimmered to life. The Kazan ship, momentarily blinded, plowed into the asteroid field. Its hull buckled under the impact, secondary explosions rippling along its surface. As the shuttle emerged from the asteroid field, the facility came into view, a sprawling complex of angular structures jutting from the surface of a barren moon. Reeves guided the craft towards a concealed landing zone, his heart pounding. "We're in," he breathed, powering down the engines. "Let's move. We don't have much time before they realize their patrol is missing." The strike team, a mix of human soldiers and alien warriors, moved swiftly through the facility's winding corridors. Zekrol led the way, his movements fluid and precise. They encountered minimal resistance, a fact that set Reeves's nerves on edge. Finally, they reached the central database. As Reeves and his team worked to download its contents, Kaz stood guard at the entrance. Suddenly, his communicator crackled to life. "Strike team, this is the Intrepid," Admiral Coleman's voice came through, thick with static. "We've detected a massive Kazan fleet converging on your position. You need to get out of there now." Reeves cursed under his breath. "We're almost done. Just a few more minutes." As the data transfer neared completion, the facility shook violently. Distant explosions echoed through the corridors. "They're here," Zekrol announced, his voice unnervingly calm. Reeves grabbed the data core, securing it in his pack. "Let's move!" But as they turned to leave, the central computer sparked to life. A holographic projection filled the room, an ancient recording that made both humans and aliens freeze in their tracks. The image showed human and alien leaders locked in a heated argument. Accusations of betrayal and sabotage flew back and forth. The recording ended with a human admiral declaring, "This alliance is over. From this day forward, we stand alone." Reeves and Kaz exchanged shocked glances. The weight of history pressed down upon them, threatening to unravel everything they had fought for. Before they could process the implications, another explosion rocked the facility. Alarms blared as the power core began to overload. "We need to go," Reeves shouted, breaking the spell. As they raced towards the exit, Kazan forces poured into the complex. Zekrol, seeing his chance, slipped away in the chaos. Kaz turned to Reeves, his eyes filled with unwavering drive. "Get the data to safety. I'll hold them off." "Kaz, no!" Reeves protested, but the alien was already moving, his weapons blazing. With a heavy heart, Reeves led the remaining team members to the shuttle. As they lifted off, the facility erupted in a blinding explosion, taking with it the secrets of the past and any hope of Kaz's survival. As the shuttle rejoined the fleet, Reeves clutched the data core, his mind blown from the revelations and the loss. The alliance, so recently forged, now stood on the brink of collapse. And somewhere in the shadows, Zekrol watched and waited, ready to report his findings to the mysterious overlord who pulled the strings of this galactic conflict. The shuttle docked with the Intrepid, its hull still smoking from the near miss with the Kazan patrol. Reeves stumbled out, his face ashen, clutching the data core to his chest. Admiral Coleman was waiting, his expression grim. "Captain, we have a situation," Coleman said, leading Reeves to the war room. The holographic display flickered to life, showing Queen Zara's face etched with fury. "Admiral, I demand an explanation. This recording, it cannot be true." Reeves' heart sank as he realized the ancient hologram from the facility had been transmitted to the Allied fleet. Before he could speak, a commotion erupted outside. The door hissed open, revealing Zekrol, flanked by a group of agitated alien dignitaries. "The humans have deceived us," Zekrol proclaimed, his eyes gleaming with malice. "They seek to subjugate us, just as they did in the past." Coleman's fist clenched. "That's a lie! We're here to help!" A deafening explosion rocked the ship, cutting off his words. Alarms blared as the tactical display lit up with incoming enemy signatures. "Kazon fleet detected," a sensor officer shouted. "They're launching a massive assault." Through the view screen, Reeves watched in horror as a colossal armada of Kazan warships emerged from warp, their weapons already charging. The human and alien fleets, caught off guard and divided, scrambled to form a defensive line. "All ships, battle stations," Coleman roared. But the command frequencies erupted in a cacophony of conflicting orders and accusations. A massive Kazan dreadnought opened fire, its energy beams slicing through the unprepared Allied ships. Explosions blossomed in the void as vessels from both sides were torn apart. Reeves lunged for the communications console. "This is Captain Reeves to all ships. We must stand together or we'll fall divided." His words were drowned out by another transmission. General Thrax's face appeared on the main screen, his eyes burning with hatred. "Humans, your treachery ends now, for the glory of the alien royal kingdom." A swarm of alien battlecruisers broke formation, turning their guns on the human fleet. Caught in a deadly crossfire between Thrax's forces and the Kazan armada, the Intrepid shuddered under the impact of multiple direct hits. "Hull breach on decks 4 through 7, an officer reported. "We're losing power to the main engines." Reeves sprinted for the turbolift. "I'm heading to engineering. We need those engines back online." As he raced through the corridors, explosions rocked the ship. Emergency force fields flickered, barely containing the vacuum of space. Reeves reached the engine room just as another blast tore through the hull. A support beam crashed down, pinning him to the deck. Through the haze of pain, Reeves saw his crew frantically working to restore power. He keyed his communicator. "Bridge, this is Reeves. I'm trapped in engineering. You'll have to—" Static filled the channel as the ship's systems faltered. Reeves struggled to free himself, but the weight was too much. As consciousness began to fade, he saw a figure approach through the smoke. It was Lieutenant Samantha Cross, her face set with perseverance. "Hang on, Captain," she said, hefting the beam. "I'm getting you out of here." As Cross worked to free him, Reeves's gaze drifted to the viewport. Outside, the battle raged, a symphony of destruction as human, alien, and Kazan ships clashed in a desperate struggle for survival. The hope of the universe hung in the balance, with the fragile alliance teetering on the brink of annihilation. Annihilation. Reeves felt consciousness slipping away as the ship shuddered around him. A blinding flash erupted outside the viewport. Reeves squinted, his vision blurring. Through the haze, he saw the impossible, Kazan ships exploding in rapid succession, caught in a web of deadly accurate fire. "Captain!" Lieutenant Cross's voice cut through the fog. "The dormant fleet, it's awakened." Reeves struggled to focus as Cross finally freed him from the debris. He stumbled to his feet, leaning heavily on her shoulder. Through the viewport, he watched in awe as sleek, angular ships of ancient human design tore through the Kazan armada with surgical precision. "How?" Reeves gasped. Cross shook her head, her eyes wide. "Unknown, sir, but they're turning the tide." The ship's intercom crackled to life. "All hands, this is Admiral Coleman. The dormant fleet has joined the battle. Regroup and press the advantage." As if galvanized by the Admiral's words, the Allied forces rallied. Human and alien ships, moments ago at each other's throats, now fought side by side against the common enemy. The Kazan, caught between the resurgent alliance and the unstoppable force of the dormant fleet, began to falter. Reeves and Cross made their way to the bridge, dodging sparking conduits and rushing damage control teams. The tactical display showed the Kazan fleet in full retreat, hounded by alliance pursuers. "Status report," Reeves barked, sliding into his command chair. "The Kazan are falling back on all fronts," the tactical officer reported. "We've taken heavy losses, but the dormant fleet's intervention has given us the upper hand." Admiral Coleman's hologram flickered into view. "Captain Reeves, glad to see you're still with us. We're coordinating with Queen Zara's forces to mop up the remaining Kazan resistance, but we've got bigger fish to fry." The holographic display shifted, revealing a massive installation hidden in an uncharted sector of space. Long-range scans picked this up during the battle. We believe it's the Overlord's base of operations. Reeves leaned forward, studying the fortified structure. What's the plan, Admiral? We're assembling a strike team. You and Lieutenant Cross will join Commander Raya from the alien contingent. Your mission is to infiltrate that base and take down the Overlord once and for all. As Reeves absorbed the gravity of the task, alarms blared across the bridge. The tactical officer's voice rang out, tinged with disbelief. Sir, we're detecting a massive energy buildup from the Overlord's base. It's like nothing we've ever seen before. The view screen shifted, showing a colossal warship emerging from the installation. Its hull pulsed with an eerie, otherworldly glow. By the stars, Cross whispered. What is that thing? Before anyone could respond, the monstrous vessel unleashed a beam of pure destruction. It sliced through space, carving a path of devastation through the Allied fleet. Ships caught in its wake simply ceased to exist, consumed by the unnatural energy. All ships, evasive maneuvers, Coleman shouted. That weapon could tear the entire fleet apart. As the Intrepid banked hard to avoid the deadly beam, Reeves gripped his chair. The true battle, he realized, was only just beginning.
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.